Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to All India Radio Houston. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM, your host, and we will be here for the next hour. This is a talk show where we focus in depth on one or two topics that are of interest to you. If you would like to be a guest on this program, please contact us at 281-265-7567. This program in part has been sponsored by Sugarland Heart Center. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to All India Radio Houston. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM. We are delighted you could join us, and we have two fantastic programs this morning. And during the first half of the hour, we're going to be talking about IQ learning, and my special guest is SUGOTO CHAKRAVARTHY, right? And during second half of the hour, we are going to be talking about Anup Jalota, the Padma Shri Bhajan Samrat, who was here in Houston last week, and we are going to be we have interviewed him, and you will be able to hear his interview, which we will be airing. And so before we get to that, we would like to recognize some of our sponsors: the Atrium Medical Center, Dr. Imran Moideen from South Texas Vascular Systems, and also the Sugarland Heart Center, and also the Foundation for India Studies, which takes oral histories on first generation Indians. If you would like to join in the conversation, and if you would like to participate in the conversation, or if you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, you can call us at 281-745-4161, and we'll get started now. And we're going to be talking about IQ learning, which is a learning institution which is located here, right here in Sugarland, and my special guest is SUGOTO CHAKRAVARTHY. Mr. Chakravarthy, you can come a little bit closer this way. Welcome to All India Radio Houston. We are delighted to have you, and let's talk about what is IQ learning. First, give us a little bit background about yourself, and then we'll talk about your product. I mean, your what I should say, a brainchild.
Thank you, Dr. Nikam. It's a pleasure to be with you and with all your listeners. I'm delighted to be here. IQ Learning is an emerging leader in providing education and tutoring services. They call us a tutoring company, but we always call ourselves as a teaching company.
I see, yeah.
And what we do is we build the academic foundations in students.
I see, yeah. So how did this IQ learning come into existence?
Well, I have been in the academia for very long. I did my Ph.D. from a very reputed national lab in India, and then I have been with several academia universities in the US. And I have always believed that teachers are the pillars of a society, just like doctors.
I see, yeah.
So we mold the minds of the younger generation.
Yeah.
These are the minds who eventually become leaders.
That is true, absolutely. Yeah.
And how do we do that? We do that by inspiring them and giving them this self-confidence. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is build the foundations. And that was the starting point of IQ learning.
That's fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to join in the conversation, the number to call here is 281-745-4161. This program is also being videotaped, which is going to be on YouTube and Vimeo for your view on demand. And my special guest is SUGOTO CHAKRAVARTHY, Dr. SUGOTO CHAKRAVARTHY, I should say, and we are talking about IQ learning. Tell us what is unique about IQ learning?
Okay, the first thing is that we are not just a tutoring company.
I see,
we are a mentoring, a teaching company.
I see, yeah.
So we are not a typical test center where students just walk in with their difficulties, attend, the teacher just helps with the questions and he walks out. What we do is first we identify the strengths and weaknesses of a student in the subject that he is undergoing. Then we try to eliminate those strengths through teaching and giving them a lot of relevant practice work.
That's interesting.
And
Yeah.
every time he comes, we are always following up with him how to get the best approach.
I see.
That is how we are essentially different from others.
So that means you are totally different from the school academic institutions where they are talking to like anywhere from 20 to 400 students at one time, versus test preparation courses where they are focused mainly on how to get your grades up.
Yes.
But you are sort of, I would say, maybe molding these children from the foundation level as to how to understand and grasp the concepts.
Exactly. So that is our main aim. You have absolutely hit the nail.
Yeah.
What we try to do is make the students understand and appreciate the concepts in
Yeah.
a way that they are always ready for all the tests.
So
That is
yeah,
our
for
aim.
any kind of situation.
Any kind of situation.
That's fascinating because that I mean I have gone through the entire medical school. I have done master in healthcare administration. I have passed like 4 or 6 cardiology exams and all these things. But this is so unique that you hardly find in maybe 1 or 2 teachers at an institution. I can recognize maybe 2, 3 professors in medical school who truly imparted this gift of how to understand the concept of biochemistry or organic chemistry. I mean, without understanding concepts, you can't memorize and pass tests.
Yeah, you can memorize, but the thing is, he will never be inspired to
can't
do
apply
anything
it.
contribute. Exactly.
Yeah.
He will not become a leader. He will not become a pathfinder.
Yeah.
And that is what something which, takes away the charm of studies.
Yeah.
So most of the students do not enjoy studies because they do not understand.
Yeah.
And that we want to eliminate.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to All India Radio Houston. If you would like to join in the conversation, or if you have any specific questions about IQ learning, you can call us here at 281-745-4161, and my special guest is SUGOTO Chakravarthy, I should say Dr. SUGOTO Chakravarthy, and we are talking about IQ learning. Okay, let's talk about where is IQ learning located, and also a little more about your school.
We are located on 3685
Yeah.
Highway 6 South, right on the intersection of Highway 6 and Settlers Way Boulevard.
I see, yeah.
And we are open 7 days a week.
Uh-huh.
Now, what we are doing is we understand that each student has a unique learning style and specific weakness.
I see, yeah.
So what we do is we identify them, and our approach is to maximize the student's strength and minimize his weaknesses.
I see, yeah.
And so we heavily emphasize on learning the fundamentals, concepts.
Yeah.
Where next time he attends his school, he's in a much better position to understand what
That's
is
right,
going
yeah.
on. And we find that most of the students later on, after spending a few sessions, they come and ask us questions about the future classes. What is that topic going to be? How to read that? So that is our aim, to build them all the time.
So that's fascinating, because if they don't understand concept in the first level of the subject, they won't be able to grasp anything beyond that.
Exactly, you are so right. Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to All India Radio Houston. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM, and my special guest is Dr. SUGOTO Chakravarthy, and he is talking about IQ learning, which is actually located right here in Sugarland, and we are trying to talk to you as to how this is different approach from all other teaching or test taking different schools that are existing in and around the whole country, I should say. And let's talk about, you said you identify some of the areas where the children really need to be prepped in a proper manner. And how long does it take to identify this and then get them on the right track where they can use their energy and resources to understand the concepts that you're talking about?
The first step is taking an assessment test at IQ.
I see, yeah.
So that is, we have designed those tests.
Yeah.
And based on those tests, we know the starting point.
Yeah.
Which is his weakest point. So
Yeah.
that's where we start. And then we teach. So we give him a practice test.
Yeah.
And then after that, we give him a practice set of questions. Wherever he's going wrong or wherever he's faltering, the tutor tries to help him out and The unique thing is the student is always working on a whiteboard. He is not on the desk most
I
of the
see,
time.
yeah. Oh, I
So
see.
we make him work on the whiteboard so that he is gaining confidence all the time, as if an audience is always watching.
So make them think.
Make them think while writing.
Yeah.
He's not just sitting there and getting distracted.
Yeah, I see, yeah.
So after that, we keep on giving him homework and follow up with his homework, where he's
I
doing
see,
and
yeah.
what he's doing. That is the first thing that happens to him.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to a test taking, that needs a little bit different skill. So after the fundamentals are
Yeah.
improved,
Yeah.
we focus on how to take a test.
Yeah.
How much time does it take? That's what you asked me. Typically, we have seen in about 95 to 99% of the students, it takes about 48 hours
I see.
before he starts making a turnaround and appreciating the subject.
I see, yeah.
So that, and each session here at IQ is 2 hours. So it takes about 24
I see,
sessions
yeah.
before we start seeing marked improvement in his.
That's interesting, because I can maybe give an analogy to music.
Yes.
You know, when we hear something, we think it is a particular note, but when the teacher points out, okay, that is not the actual note, and you have to play these sequence of notes, then all of a sudden when you play, you feel like you are in sync with the original music, and that's what really creates this, what I should say, unity.
Exactly, and that is very true, and that holds for here also, because the student, he says, why should I learn this formula? How is it useful for me?
Yeah.
The teacher has to show him, this is where you are going.
Yeah.
These are the things which are important, these are not. So that's why we try to make sure that all the queries which the student may not be even willing to ask, he comes up with those questions and works in front of the
That's
whiteboard.
fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to All India Radio Houston. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM, your host, and my special guest is Dr. SUGOTO CHAKRAVARTHY, and we are talking about IQ learning, which is located right here in Sugar Land, Texas. And if you'd like to join in the conversation, the number to call here is 281-745-4161. We'd just like to take a moment to recognize some of the sponsors for our radio program, which is coming to you live on 1050 KCHN. We'd like to recognize Atrium Medical Center, which is one of the sponsors, and also Dr. Imran Moideen from South Texas Vascular Institute, and of course Sugar Land Heart Center, and Foundation for India Studies, which does oral history projects on first generation Indians. So let's get back to our IQ learning. Tell us about this IQ learning. You said, is this like a national chain, or is this something that you created?
No, it's not a national chain. It's something which I created along
Yeah.
with two of my partners. We
I
created
see.
it after we found
Yeah.
that most of the students are not really understanding the foundations
Yeah.
when it comes to higher college levels. They're very poorly
I see.
prepared for higher level education.
Oh.
That's when we started it.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, let's talk about all the different subjects that you cover in your classes.
Elementary school, we covered English, math, and science,
Yeah.
starting from the 4th grade. Middle school, we cover English, math, and science.
I see, yeah.
High school, all math, all sciences,
Yeah.
and English. College level,
Yeah.
first year level, we are doing physics and mathematics
Yeah.
and chemistry.
Oh, okay. Is this like a group training, or is it an individual training, or is it based on the students' requirements?
It's both.
I see.
The parents can choose either a one-on-one or they can choose a group.
I see, yeah.
But we are based on the assessment test. We recommend in the beginning that this is the best course for you, whether you should go in for one-on-one or a group learning, and
Yeah.
for how many months.
I see.
So once it's a group, the difference between the two is that in a group, the student has to align with the group. So
I
he
see.
will have less freedom
That's
in
true.
asking questions
Yeah.
given the time frame.
That's true, yes.
Whereas in a one-on-one, the student and the teacher are all on their own.
On
So
their
he
own.
can ask as many questions and she can have anything